Why am I getting paid the same as the other person? I always excelled in my targets. I always hit double my targets. There's someone sitting next to me not really producing to where I'm producing. That is not fair.
They're in a job. They feel like, they're at the ceiling.
If your current company is not giving you that promotion or that role, another company is going to give it to you. Do not get comfortable. Crossing $1 million in book it's a very hard task. I did it in a year.
A lot of respect.
The joy I see in their face when Dad is here to pick me up. My daughter runs to me and hugs me. It's like, Dad, can we go for a bike ride? I'm like, yeah, okay, you know what? Let's go. I couldn't do that in my banking job. I couldn't do that at my previous roles because you're set to a time.
What was the options?
I was ready to quit 3 years into my job at Allstate, but every year I wanted to quit. We bought a house. Okay, fine. Next year, I told my wife, next year I'll quit. Following year, we had a baby. Okay, fine, I'll wait. I don't know when the next year is going to come. I told my wife, I want to quit. I don't know if it was the best time, but I knew it was the right time.
That a hard part.
My earning went from 150, 160 that year to making 50,000. Within 8 months, my savings was gone. There were months where I didn't have enough money to pay my mortgage. I had to borrow money from a friend or a family.
You literally had to just survive the first year.
There were days I cried because I didn't see my kids.
What's the reasons behind this hustle?
Yes, I'm building it to earn more money, but I want to do it so that I can get more back time.
Before you hand over that notice,
people are afraid to quit or resign because they don't know what's going to come next. And I wish someone gave me this advice.
Your dad came to this country as a refugee.
Mm-hmm.
How was life back then? Because I heard a lot of stories about, Sri Lankan refugees, and I have seen personally.
Yeah. Well, for us, it wasn't a choice, war back home. So my dad fled Sri Lanka and came to Canada as a refugee. I think about a year, 2 years after, he was able to sponsor my mom, my sister, and my brother. So we landed in Canada August of 1993. So I was 8 years old. And then we enrolled in school the following year. And I think around late 80s to maybe mid 90s or late 90s even, a lot of Tamils from Sri Lanka came to Canada seeking refuge, and they were accepted and they started a new life. And like many of us that came here, for us it was like, I didn't know English, and me, my sister, my brother, we used to walk to school every day. We lived in an apartment building, and first few years were a little tough understanding a new language and new world. And slowly we caught on. And then I remember my dad used to work 2 jobs. And in the morning, he worked at a bakery at Second Cup. It was very close to my school. So at lunch, he'd bring me and my sister's donuts for lunch. Donuts and little, muffins and stuff.
Yeah.
And the evenings, he'll come home. He'll drop us from school. He'll go to his restaurant job. And from the time he landed in Canada to now, my dad passed away last year. He worked in restaurants. He that's all he knew. He loved cooking. So he used to work in the morning in the breakfast at Second Cup. In the evenings, he'd work at a restaurant. So 2 jobs, they work to support us.
There is no life at all.
No.
They just literally sacrifice.
Yeah, that's a lot of my friends' parents and everyone that I know at our parents' age. They work 2-3 jobs to support us and support their families back home, because you still have siblings and brother or sister that you want to get married off or support for schooling, or maybe your nieces and nephews back home that you want to pay for their better education. So they never did it for their own self.
Yeah.
It's to help others.
All these things, was there any talks about what a successful life means?
I think at a young age, my dad and mom always said, study hard, get a job, get a good job, get a good job. And to them, as long as you studied, went to university or college and finished, that was half the battle. And then if you get a good job, that's even better, right? So to them, success meant going to school, getting good grades, and becoming a successful person, whether it's in banking, accountant, doctor, lawyer. You know the rhythm, right?
Were there any moments of, where you thought, questioned, is this the right thing? Are we on the right track at that point?
To be honest, at that point, I think everything was new to us. Schools, friends, neighborhoods. And even when we were little, we moved around different neighborhoods. So Toronto, it's such a big place. So we lived in one part of Toronto, which was very nice. We were very near Forest Hill area. So we used to live near Eglinton and Marley areas, near the Eglinton station. It's a very nice neighborhood, very multicultural. And then from there, I remember my dad saying, we have to move because they're increasing the rent in the building. And my dad was already working 2 jobs. My mom was working a factory job. So it was getting very expensive. So we moved from there to Regent Park, which is downtown, metro housing. So we lived in metro housing buildings, and it was a different neighborhood altogether. A lot of drugs, gangs, violence. So my parents are like, we can't stay here forever. It's not good for our children. It's not good for our family. Let's stay here for another year and save up some money and move to a different area. So my parents, my mom and my dad worked 2 jobs, saved up enough money, and they bought a condominium in Scarborough.
So they bought it.
They bought a condominium, and believe it or not, it was the first purchase that my mom and dad did. And they were able to buy it, afford it, and guess how much they bought it for?
How much?
It was a power of sale condominium going for $75,000, a 3-bedroom condo in Scarborough in 1999 or 2000. My mom was able to borrow some money and save up some money, put a down payment, and got that condo. We lived in that condo for about 2-3 years, and we sold it for 140. And that led to that journey of moving from that area to another area, buying another property, selling it, and then moving to another area. So my mom and dad were always like, what can we do better? What can we do better? What can we do better? And we just went along with the journey.
But
we had
think about it, now I hear a lot of young people complaining sacrifices, oh, you got to sacrifice your party food.
No.
And like
No.
here we are talking about like literally
No.
working 3 physical jobs and saving every penny, living in a roughest neighborhood.
Yeah, our parents did it all. So I don't think we have a right to complain about, oh my God, I didn't get my 10 hours of sleep, or this job is too stressful. No, stress is working 15-hour days. Or my mom used to tell me, she used to take a bus 2.5 hours to make $5 an hour.
Wow.
2.5 hours. We used to live midtown, going to Scarborough. So she said 2 buses, 2.5 hours to get to work, 2.5 hours back. And then she has to cook when she gets back home. So I asked Amma, how much did you make at the time? She said, I make $5 an hour. And then she left that, and we moved around, and she was at another factory for about 15 years. She was working in the factory, minimum wage, of course. Right. So seeing all these, it always instilled in me that I have to work hard. I have to succeed, and I have to make sure I succeed for them, so that they feel like all this hard work and all this sacrifices they made, it didn't go to waste. So that always was in the back of my mind, that success to me is being the good son and providing for my family and making sure that I can be a good example to my brother and sister.
So when you got into banking, did you felt like, man, I made it?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I don't know about anyone. I'm sure it's very common in our South Asian community. Maybe you can let me know if you agree with this. But anytime a father, a parent, mother, they tell one of their friends, like, oh, my son works in the bank. My son works for this bank.
Yeah.
It was such a proud moment for my dad, because when I told him, Appa, I got a job at TD Bank, he's like, oh my God, that's amazing. So I know how proud he got, and I know how proud he was to tell others, like, oh, my son works for TD Bank. My son, he didn't know what I was getting paid. He didn't know what my job title was, but he knew I was at the bank. He knew I was at the bank, right? So that was a proud moment for them. And even for me, it was like, I work for a big bank. I work for a nice bank. So it felt good. Yes.
So at what point did that comfortable start feeling like a trap?
Maybe a couple of years into it, 3-4 years into the job, is when I felt like, is this it? Is this more to this? And what can I do more about it? Right. And at the time, I was very comfortable in my job. I like my managers. I like my team. But then I realized 3-4 years into it, everyone that I worked with was starting to go into different branches, different levels. My manager, I had 3 different managers in that 3-4 year time. But I love what I did. But I'm like, there's more to it. So when I started looking around, I was like, I gotta, go for a promotion or apply for a different role in the bank, or go to a different bank altogether. And that's when I was like, I need to do something different. I'm not happy with this yet. And that's when I started to see what else I can do outside.
So what was the options you could pick up?
So either quit the job or do something different. And I didn't know what I wanted to do at that time. I liked banking, but I knew there was different branches in banking, and I felt like I got to do something. So one of my good friends, Theban, he was a DJ at the time too. God rest his soul. He passed away in a boating accident a while back. He was working for the bank as well. He was in the IT support side. So he called me one day. He's like, hey, Pak, I'm going to go return my equipment because I resigned a day earlier. Do you mind giving me a ride? He didn't have a car. So I said, yeah, that's fine. I'll give you a ride. My shift is later in the day. So we get to the parking lot of my building. He's like, "Hey, do you give me a few minutes?" I'm like, "You know what? Just wait." He's like, and he knew I didn't like my job either.
Yeah.
He's like, "What are you gonna do about it?" I was like, "You know what? I think I'm gonna resign too." He's like, "What?" He goes, "Are you serious?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm gonna resign." He's like, "Are you sure you want to do this right now?" You know what, brother? Like, I've been complaining about this job, and I don't like checking in, clocking in every day, clocking out. It just felt like a factory, clock in, clock out. I no sense of accomplishment. That's what was missing for me. It was like, yeah, I connect with clients, I sell my products, I hit all my targets, but at the end of the day, I didn't feel like I accomplished anything, right? So I was like, I need to do something different, brother. I've been wanting to quit for so long. I just didn't know when. And you know what? You already quit. So I think let's quit. So I literally called my boss and said, hey, I'm in the parking lot. I want to resign. How do I do it? Do I just give you a verbal confirmation? Like, no, can you just send me an email? And he's like, okay. So I'm literally on my phone. I'm typing an email to my boss saying, as of now, I'm giving my resignation. Please accept it and give me my 2 weeks. And he go, do I need to come to work tomorrow? He's like, no, because it's banking.
Yeah.
As soon as they know you're resigning, they
don't even allow
they don't
you.
even allow you, right? It's for security and privacy reasons. So today's your last day, and that's it. That's how I resigned my job at the bank.
So you had what do we call balls to do
Yeah,
it?
I did
But
it.
at the same time, at that point in time, were you single or married or?
So I think one of the key things is I didn't have a mortgage. I was helping my parents pay a portion of their mortgage. I didn't have kids.
But it's on their name.
It's on their
They're
name.
still working.
Yeah, they're still working. Both mom and dad were working. So I didn't have a mortgage. I wasn't married, so no kids, no big responsibilities. The only responsibilities were my cell phone bill and my car payment. That's it. So I knew I was gonna get another job eventually.
Yeah.
But I was like, I had a little bit of savings.
Don't you think that's the advantage for people who are watching
Yes.
this? Like, if you're young, like,
Yes.
if you don't have any commitments,
Yeah.
that's the time
That's
to
the
like,
best time. If you want to take risks, and that's one thing I realize is if it's now, when
Yeah.
you don't have big commitments, when you don't have a mortgage, when you don't have dependents working on you, you don't have all these bills accumulating around you, what are you going to do when you quit? So you got to have plan A, B, and C. For me, I was like, I can take a risk.
But what did you do next?
So I started researching. I love sales. So one of my friends that worked in the banking sector, he went to Allstate, insurance sales. So I was like, you know what? Let's give it a try. I love sales. I love meeting people. So that was one of the things. And one of the big things I said no was never going working for a call center again. I don't like this, clocking in, clocking out, getting permission to go for a washroom break, or I got to be logged in, or I got to be logged out for 30 minutes for my lunch break. I didn't want someone telling me when I can go on lunch, when I can come back on lunch, when I have to get off a call.
Seriously,
yeah,
that's
it was
how much
very
they
clocked in.
control.
It was very, very, like, anyone working in the call center knows this. Every minute is tracked. So even if I'm on ACW, which is after call work, if I go 3-4 minutes, it starts blinking red, and my manager's like, Pak, what's going on? Why aren't you back on the call? So I hated that. So I said, I got to do something different. And that's when I went into Allstate, sales job again. It was not much on the phones, but it was all relationships, building sales.
You're tired of like having a factory work.
Yeah, yeah.
And you wanted your own independence.
Independency.
Why? Like, what was running in your head?
So for me, while I was in the banking sector, I realized, I always excelled in my targets. I always hit double my targets. My experience score. So in the banking sector, every bank has their own metrics, but where I was at, customer experience index. So how well you treated your customer, how well they're likely to recommend you back. So a lot of times they do random surveys on clients that I've dealt with. I've always excelled and got really high percentages scores. So here I am excelling, doubling my targets, always excelling my experience scores. There's someone sitting next to me, not really producing to where I'm producing, mediocre in terms of results. But how come when it comes time for performance and bonus, my bonus is the same as the other person? Why am I getting paid the same as the other person? So that didn't sit well with me.
So the merit doesn't mean anything.
It doesn't mean anything because you're paid just for the job, paid by the hour. And then you get a bonus if everything aligns. And I remember 1 year, they said, we're not entitled to a bonus because the site didn't meet its metrics.
Oh, so the overall.
So the whole office, the entire site didn't meet its minimum threshold, so we're not getting a bonus. So I'm like, that is not fair. So I got to do something different. So that's when I went into this insurance role, and your performance equals your pay. Then that's when I delve into it.
Before we go any further, I know most of you watching this right now haven't subscribed yet. Please do me a favor, do it right now. It's completely free. It takes 1 second, and it genuinely goes a long way in helping us bringing you more conversations like this one. And trust me, you do not want to miss where this conversation going next. Subscribe, and now let's keep going. When you mean by your performance equals to
Yeah.
your pay,
Yeah.
is it still a job or is it like a self-employed?
No, it's still a job because I'm still getting a salary plus commission. So now the more sales you do, the more commission you earn. So, but it's not as factory reset as the banking sector where you're just capped. Here, your earnings could be uncapped depending on how well your performance is.
Can you go back in time? How was your first year look like?
Yeah, first year was awesome because I literally doubled my income when I worked in the banking sector. So I was like, this was the right decision. And to be honest, if you ask me, what was I doing different? I was myself. I was only selling something different instead of checking account, credit card, savings account. I was selling insurance products, home and auto and sales. So, but I love sales. I love meeting people. So I just used that to my advantage. And I started building out networks. So first year I doubled my income when I was working in the banking sector. Second year I almost tripled it.
Wow.
And then third year, fourth year, I've been in that range. Yeah.
Where did this MC MC role played in your life? Take us back into when you were a kid in 1920.
Oh yeah, 19. Okay, yeah,
At
yeah.
your-
I was
at your
19,
age of
20 years old.
19,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Yeah.
So-
So I was at a birthday party, a friend's birthday party, and it was at a banquet hall in Scarborough. So the banquet hall manager at the time, he's like, "Hey, we want to play a game. Can someone help us announce and do the musical chair game?" So I was like, "Okay, I'll do it." And in earlier on in high school, college days, we used to do stage shows. So we used to do a lot of my friends were a couple of years older than me, so they went to York University, U of T, and U of T Scarborough, and them. So at the time there used to be a lot of cultural shows. So where you used to do dancing and dramas and skits, and I was part of a Cantide, which is like a youth development program for volunteer programs. I used to be part of them as well. So we used to do a lot of little shows. So that got me out of not being shy. So I was like, I could pick up a mic and I can do a little musical chair game. So it was a hit. And then the hall manager's like, do you mind coming the next weekend and doing a little party and I'll pay you $80 or $100? And I was like 19, 20. Who's going to turn down $100 on a Saturday night? You get free food, drinks.
Yeah.
I don't drink, but free food, drinks, and partying. And you get to meet people, right? So I was like, okay, fine. So that slowly started. And then that small birthday party led to weddings and birthdays and concerts and galas. So I've done concerts where like 15,000, 20,000 people attended.
Even while you're doing the job.
And till date, I'm still doing emceeing. So I do weddings and events on the weekends on the part-time. So that brought me out of my shell and made me meet a lot of people. So through that, I built a lot of friends in the network. So a lot of my friends are real estate agents, mortgage brokers, lawyers, accountants that I kind of grew up with or that I met along the way while I was emceeing and being part of events.
Did you ever realize that this is kind of like a passion project,
Yeah,
right? Like it's
it
like
is.
your natural ability.
Yeah.
Everyone have something unique in them.
Yeah.
And you do it just for fun.
Yeah.
But did it show it in your business results, like in your sales results?
I think so because for me, emceeing, public speaking was always a passion of mine. But when I meet people and I'm speaking to them, they know I'm confident.
Yeah.
They know I have really good speaking skills. So definitely those skills were transferable and because when I'm doing a presentation for my team or at our office or doing some kind of an event, they're like, "Oh, you speak really well, Pac." I'm like, "Oh, thank you." I've even emceed when I was at the bank. We emceed my year-end gala. So I've done even at work as well. I've done that.
So you're building connections.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
when someone
Yeah.
laugh at your
Yeah.
jokes,
Yeah.
they remember you.
Oh, 100%. Even at weddings, I put the hook in there that
What was that hook?
So one of the games, when wedding receptions, people play the shoe game.
Yeah.
Who's and who, right?
Yeah.
So one of the questions I always ask is, who is most likely to get a speeding ticket, the bride or the groom? And one of them will lift up their
Yeah.
shoe. So I always say, don't worry, even if you do get a speeding ticket, I'll make sure you get the best rates in town because I'm also an insurance broker. And everybody laughs. They think it's a joke, but I'm like, hey guys, actually on a serious note, I am an insurance broker. So if anybody in this hall wants an insurance rate or want to review your coverages, let me know after the reception. So they always laugh. And then people do come ask me, are you really? I'm like, yeah, I'm an insurance. Take down my number. So it's a building opportunity of networks. Yeah.
That's the cool part of
Yeah.
building your network with a conscious mind, right? Like how many people who translate their passion skills into the money making skill?
Yeah.
Because that's what cool about what you're doing.
Yeah.
Jump forward, like you got married,
Yeah.
and you got a house.
Yeah.
Now you're Self-employed.
Yeah.
You're now completely on
I'm
commission.
completely commission. Is self-employed, completely commission, no base salary. So no.
So how does that jump
So I'll
happen?
tell you how that jump happened, and I don't know if it was the right time or not. But a couple of years into my career at Allstate, I knew that I wanted to go independent. I wanted to be a broker because it's kind of like the banking sector where you're still an employee. You still get your 2 weeks vacation. So someone is still controlling the time off, and someone is still controlling how much time you can take off. And at the same time, even when I was at Allstate, I was really making really good money. But if there was 1 month where I didn't produce, your income goes from here to here. So you can be making 10,000 and it can go drop down to 4,000. And that was not good when you have bills and mortgages and everything. So I said, what else can I do? So believe it or not, I reached out to one of my mentors and advisors. He left the company and went off and opened up his own brokerage, and he's self-employed. So I reached out to him and said, hey, when do you think is the right time for me to quit? I want to be independent. I want to control my earnings, right? And I want to have residual income. And he goes, you'll know when is the right time to quit is when your phone doesn't stop ringing. When your phone doesn't stop ringing and you're turning away more deals than you're actually writing, then that's when you know it's the right time to quit. So until then, don't quit. So I was ready to quit 3 years into my job at Allstate, but every year I wanted to quit, we bought a house. So I have a mortgage. So, oh no, my banker's like, don't quit your job because we need to make sure you get approved for the deal and this and that. So, okay, fine. Next year, I told my wife, next year I'll quit. Following year, we had a baby. So my wife's like, I'm on EI. Don't quit right now because we need a steady income coming in and we need benefits and this and that. Okay, fine, I'll wait. Third year, so I'm in my 5th year at Allstate. She's like, we just sold our house. We're about to move into our new house. We purchased our new house. We had about 50 to 60,000 savings. And my daughter, she was a toddler, under a year. And then so my son is already 3, 4. No, 5. He was already 5. So my daughter's just under a year. And I told my wife, like, I want to quit. She's like, are you sure? We have a little bit of savings. I've been putting this off for the last 3 years. I've been saying next year. I don't know when the next year is going to come, but I've already built my network. My phones are always blasting off. I need to quit. So she's like, okay, fine. So I went from making 150, 160K and I went full broker. So no support, full commission. If you're going to ask me, was it the best time? I don't know if it was the best time, but I knew it was the right time. I just had to do it. So I went full commission. So my earning went from 150, 160 that year to making 50,000. My first year as an independent broker, I made 50,000. Second year in, and I doubled. And then now I'm, progressing up. So for me, it was like, I could wait for the perfect time, but sometimes perfect time doesn't come. You just got to choose and you got to run with it. And my wife, looking back on it, she's like, I know it wasn't the best time. We used up our savings. Imagine, that was the time when interest rates went from 3 to 6%.
Yeah.
So my mortgage went from 3,500 to 6,400. So we ran through our earnings. Our savings was demolished. Like it was gone. Within 8 months, my savings was gone. So we used up our credit cards, line of credits to bring money, roll money around to keep the bills going. So the first year was, I think, the toughest year financially for me in my entire 20 years working in the banking and insurance and all these industries. It was the hardest year for me. If you were to ask me, I worked 15-hour days, 16-hour days, barely slept because I'm building my pipeline, building my sales. So I wish there was a better way to do it, but that was the only way I can do it. And failure was not an option.
This is where what now.
Yeah.
Would you have done anything differently?
Yeah.
If you would, let's say, God gave you a chance to revisit 10 years ago, what would you do?
To be honest, I wish I had a safety net, maybe a little bit more money on the side, knew what I was getting into, and connected with the right people to jumpstart my career. Because when I left a role with commissionable earnings and salary, and I jumped into this, you don't know where it's going to take you. I knew I'll be successful because I have the passion and the drive, but you don't know how low it's going to take you until it bounces you back up. So for me, I wish I took a little bit more time, but saved enough, had that safety net going into this, risking it all. Because I had a mortgage, I had kids, I had house payments, car payments. So I had a lot of responsibilities. I wish I'd done it earlier when I didn't have these many responsibilities on me. So I think anyone watching this or listening to this, if you're ready to take a risk, take a risk when there's not that much obligations and things tying you down. Because there were months, I'm not gonna lie to you, Aditya, there were months where I didn't have enough money to pay my mortgage. There were months where I didn't have enough money to pay a car payment. I had to borrow money. I had to borrow money from a friend or a family or my mom. So there were those times, and that's the fact. But we built that base. I built that income level where I'm not in that position anymore.
Yeah.
But it's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears going into it. There were days where I went into the office at 8 a.m, midnight. I'm in the office, and there were days I cried because I didn't see my kids. My daughter was young. My son is 5. There were days where my wife's like, "Where are you?" I'm at the office. I'm still working. She's like, "Why don't you come home and sleep?" Because I'm like, I'm coding. I'm doing this deal. I had to get it done before I get home. So it was a lot. It was a very emotional
No
ride.
one talks about that hard parts, right? So
No.
you literally like had to just survive the first year.
Yeah.
Then how did you actually start building something?
So I think year one was the biggest struggle, and for me, after a year and a half at one brokerage, I moved to a different brokerage, and I think I'll get to that eventually. But I think year two, we moved to a different brokerage. The structure was a little different. It was more beneficial for me, so I started really contacting, getting myself out there, really pushing my networks, really tapping into my network of realtors and brokers and bringing in those leads. And then I started like grind. So you're probably thinking, does Pac have work-life balance? I think I think work-life balance is it's an ongoing journey. It's an ongoing. You're trying to climb that mountain. I don't know if you ever get to it. Eventually, you'll get to it when everything is in motion. But for me, it's like there's no work-life balance in the beginning. You're building. So anyone that wants that success, you're not gonna have the luxury of sleeping 8 hours, 10 hours a day. You're not gonna have the luxury of coming home at 5 and having dinner with your wife and kids. That didn't exist for me in the first 2-3 years. Even now, there are days where I'm in the office till 8, 9, 10 o'clock because I love what I do. I'm doing it for their benefit, and I know it'll pay off in the long run.
The myth of work-life balance doesn't exist if you are someone trying to
Build. Yeah.
Because if you want work-life balance, then just go work.
Then you work in a bank or you work in a very steady job. Because when you're on this side, and there are days where you probably work 15 hours a day, and there are days maybe you work 4 hours a day. You pick and choose your days, but then there's no work-life balance. You can eventually, we want to get to work-life balance. I want to have things in place where I'm accumulating wealth, and while I'm earning, while I'm sleeping, I want to get to that phase. But right now, it's all about building.
The building phase is like something that you're even if you're sleeping,
you gotta
your
be
thoughts also still running because it's your baby.
Oh, 100%.
It's like completely dependent on you.
100%. There are days I wake up, I'm like, did I call that client back? Did I issue that policy? Did I write that deal? Did I delete that car off the policy? So and to be honest, is like, if you ask me, what takes to be a successful broker or be successful in mine, I think clients should be able to reach you regardless of time. I know there's this thing that, you know what, you work only 9 to 5. You have your family you got to do. You got your weekends or your family. But to be honest, it helped me because I was reachable.
Yeah.
Clients knew that if I call Pac at this time, I can get through to him. If he doesn't pick up, he'll text me back. So whether it was Sunday night, 9 o'clock, or Saturday, 8 in the morning, I get calls. I get text messages. I get text messages at 11 o'clock at night. Hey, brother, I'm thinking of buying this car. I want to know how much this would be. So if I'm awake, I'll respond like, hey, no worries. I'll work on this tomorrow morning. But I'm always reachable. And I think that helped me be successful and allowed me to write more deals, allowed me to be a successful broker.
Especially when you're in the building phase.
In the building phase,
it's a mandate.
And I'm still building. Building. There's still plateaus that I want to reach.
What actually feels like day to day for you?
Right now, 8, 9 o'clock in the morning, 7 o'clock, I get up. I get ready. I get on the road. I check my messages, check my emails. I get into the office. I could choose to work from home, but I like going into the office. I love meeting people. I love working with my colleagues. So emails, I get 5, 6, 10 quotes a day. I get people calling me for quotes. I get renewals. So, clients that I wrote the previous year, the renewals are coming up. So you got to look at the renewals. And then I get leads that I got to do. I got an endorsement. So meaning like endorsement could be something simple like, hey, I sold my car. Can you delete my car? Or it could be something like, hey, I got a better rate at a different company. Can you cancel my policy? Those are all endorsements. Leads, people have to call back. They want quotes. So my day is all over the place. I try to structure it to the best of my knowledge, but sometimes I spend more time doing servicing. Endorsements, calling back clients, doing services, may take 70% of my day, and then 30% of my day is calling back clients for deals. So some days are a little bit more, some days are a little less, but we try to structure it at the best of my abilities.
Also, you kind of mentioned something about your Tuesdays.
Yes. So there are days where you're like, yeah, I want to take the day off. I want to just go do something. Maybe go to the mall, or maybe spend some time at home, or maybe take the time to drop my kids off at school and pick them up. The joy I see in their face when Dad is here to pick me up, and like, yeah, I'm here, hey guys. And then, my daughter runs to me and hugs me. It's like, Dad, can we go for a bike ride? I'm like, yeah, okay, you know what? Let's go. So I couldn't do that in my banking job. I couldn't do that at my previous roles because you're set to a time, 9 to 5. You're working. You couldn't take days off. You could take days off, vacation days, sick days, whatever. But when you're self-employed, in my current role, I can do that. If today I want to just take the day off and do a little bit of calls, a little bit of emails, I can take that, dial it down, and spend more time with my kids. But I couldn't do that in my previous role, and I value those random Tuesdays. Like Tuesday, especially today.
That's why we are shooting on Tuesday.
I know we're shooting on a Tuesday. Thanks for picking a Tuesday. But today is my kids' soccer. So both of them, I got them enrolled into soccer from Mississauga Panthers. So they're part of the club. So this is the first time my daughter and my son are playing and part of the club. So I value the Tuesday. I get to spend time with them and watch them play soccer and stuff.
When I first started in sales, I had a mentor, Marian Gillespie. She told me one thing. Every week, one day is your day where you're not actually intentionally not thinking about business. Just doing random things, whatever it is, but random things. And I love that idea because we as a self-employed, we want to make it happen.
I know.
We want to get the deal done. But, it's like...
You need a reset. You need a refresh.
She gave a nice example. You're like a phone. It will run out of battery. You got to recharge it if you have to use it. If you don't recharge it, it will die. Of course. You cannot use it at all.
Of course.
She suggested me this one day, like, that's like one day in a week and 1 month in a year. That became even part of my journey.
Definitely.
So, for someone who is watching, who is exactly where you are 10 years ago. What do they actually do? Some steps.
So I'll give you an example. If you're in whether it's banking or any field you're in, if you feel like you hit the ceiling and you capped, I think the first 30 days you got to take is find out what the maximum you can earn in that role. Find out if this is where you want to be, or do you want to get to a different level, a promotion. So start researching. Before you think of quitting or anything like that, really dive into what your expectations are, what you can earn in the next level. If you feel like this is it and you can't do anything else, then I think you got to find what your passion is. What is your passion? Everyone has a passion. Everyone has a skill that can't be taught. It's just instilled in you. Maybe you love speaking. Maybe you love sales. Maybe you love coaching. Maybe you love training. So maybe spend the next 60 days, reach out into people that are in your network or even outside your network that is doing something that you would love to do. Maybe they're earning a lot more, but maybe in the similar role, find out how they did it. What did they do? So spend those 60 days finding a role, finding a mentor that is earning what you would love to be earning and doing what you'd love to be doing. So speak to them, take them out for a coffee, grab the lunch with them, ask questions. And I think that's one thing I did is I asked a lot of questions before I ventured off. So connect with that person or that people and ask a lot of questions. Once you've figured out, okay, this is what I want to do, this is where I want to be, then now you got to get into what steps you got to take to get there. Is there a licensing required? Is there any accreditations you need? So, banking or mortgages or real estate or insurance, there's licenses involved. So what I would tell that person is study. Get your licenses in order, get your accreditations in order. Once you've done it, no one is telling you to quit your job. You can still do your full-time job, and why not do that part-time? If it allows you, do it part-time. Get that one deal done. Once you feel like you did it and you feel like, oh, I'm happy about this, then it's time for you to quit your job. Because the last thing you need is you quitting your job, you finding out that the one that you wanted to chase, you're not happy with. Now you don't have a job and you're not happy with that. You don't want to do that. Make sure you keep your job, do it on the side. And once you feel like your side income is earning more than your full-time, then you're ready to quit. That's what I would do.
That's like your mentor said, when your phone doesn't stop ringing.
When your phone doesn't stop ringing,
Lovely. That's great advice. I love that. And, for someone who is watching, this, they're in 20s, early 20s or mid 20s, they're in a job. They
Yeah.
feel like, they're at the ceiling.
Yeah.
They're not broke, but, this is not it.
Yeah.
Like they want to do something
Yeah.
more. What do you suggest them do for next 90 days?
To be honest, if they're in that level, and I wish someone gave me this advice,
Hmm.
and the reason I say this is because in my banking, I got too comfortable. I was very comfortable, and that was a mistake. So if you feel like you hit your ceiling, speak to your manager right away and be like, I want to move into this role. What do I need to do? Or look in a different position in the sector that you're in. If you want to move into that, reach out to that manager. Reach out to them and
And
be
they
like,
do
how can I
help.
apply it for? You can apply for it. You can reach out to them like, hey, I want to do this job, or I want to get into this role. What do I have to do? Do not get comfortable, or do not think this is it. If your current company is not giving you that promotion or that role, another company is going to give it to you. So maybe it's time for you to apply to a different company, but at a higher role. I wish I did that in my 5-6 years in the banking industry, because no one came and told me that. I was comfortable because I like my manager, I like my colleagues, and I thought, this is it. I'll get my 2-3% increase. It just took a lot longer. So if my only advice to you is, if you're in your 20s, mid 20s, don't get comfortable. Go chase the next thing. A year and a half in your role, you apply for the next role. It doesn't mean you have to do the same job, but may apply for a different job. Gain your different skill sets. Do different things, apply different skill sets, and next thing you know, in 3 years or 4 years, you've done 2 to 3 different jobs that allows you to go to the next level.
You're hustling
Yeah.
crazily right now. What's the vision you have for your family and for yourself? What's the reasons behind this hustle?
At the end of the day, when my parents came here, they didn't have anything. They worked factory jobs all their life to put us through school and give us the best education and make sure that we find good jobs and get married and, move on. So now I look back and I say, I want to do that much more for my kids. I want to build a legacy. I want to build an empire for them. So, we all work to be successful so we can get more time. Right now, I didn't have the luxury of spending time with my dad and mom because they were always working. We were in school. By the time we got home, we ate and we went to bed. So I look back and I miss the time. I vividly remember the time my dad took me to the park and he taught me how to ride a bike. And this was like one of the few core memories of mine. I want to be in a position where if my son asks me, Dad, can you take me bike riding today? Or can we go to the park today? Hey, Dad, can you just take the day off and let's go do this? I want to be able to do that. So at the end of the day, yes, I'm building it to earn more money, but I want to do it so that I can get more back time. And 20 years down the road or 15 years down the road, I want to just have more time to spend with my family.
Very few people think about life vision.
Yeah.
Everyone thinks about business vision.
Yeah.
But what's the life vision?
No, I think you earn to spend more time and you buy back time, right? So, yeah.
What would you tell yourself before you hand over that notice for the job?
If I could tell myself something, I'd
Yeah.
say, don't be afraid. Take the risk. Do things that are uncomfortable. Learn new skills and just go out there. Because people are afraid to quit or resign because they don't know what's going to come next. But for me, I would just say, don't be afraid. Just go. Just go out and do something that you love. I know that's more of a motivational side, but I think realistically speaking, I wish someone told me this at that time, because you learn, you get hurt, you get back up, you do things. So just don't be afraid. Everything will work out, but just chase it and do something that you're happy with. Because right now, if you ask me, am I happy? I love what I do. I love what I do. I love as an insurance broker, I get to educate, I get to meet people. A lot of my clients become my friends. A lot of my network of partners are my friends. So it's a good industry to be in. And I love what I do because I don't just look at it as just one policy. I look at it as I'm taking care of my clients. I'm taking care of their family, and I'm making sure I'm doing the best for them.
We as a salespeople, it's not an easy life.
Yeah. I think, like, I don't know if you know any other insurance brokers. Like, we're all about book of business, right? So the first year is the most. I think I kind of highlighted it, but crossing $1 million in book it's a very hard task. Usually, brokers take 2 to 3 years to accomplish it. I did it in a year. I almost a year and 1 month I accomplished it, but it took a lot to do it.
I mean, any of your personal stories that
hit hard,
that hit hard for you?
Like my dad passed away. That was a big turning point for me. This was almost a year now. And whenever my mom and dad go back, he either stays at his brother's house or my mom stays at his sister's house. They never had their own house.
House.
So mom and dad always wanted their own place to stay. So about 10 years ago, my mom is that business minded person. My dad is the worker, my
So
mom is
she's
a
the
thinker.
brain.
She's the one who said let's buy the house, let's buy the condo. So she bought a plot of land in between her older sister and younger sister's house. There was like a plot of land, and the landowner wanted to sell it because his daughter was getting married, so he needed money. So mom cash advance $10,000 out of her credit card. This is 10, 15 years ago. She paid it. The land alone right now is worth 50, 60,000.
Damn.
Like it went up, right?
Yeah.
And then they built a house about 2 years ago, a year and a half, 2 years ago. So that was like their retirement house. They want to go back and forth. So mom was there for about 8 months. She came back. My dad's like, okay, I'm gonna go back. 4 days into his trip is we get a call saying he had a stroke. He's at the hospital. Can you guys come? So me and my mom were like, what the hell is going on? He just landed 4 days ago.
So it's in back home happened.
Back home, this happened. So they go
Yeah,
every few
yeah.
years. They go back and forth. So while he was in Sri Lanka, we get a call saying Appa's serious. He's at the hospital. Mom just came back from Sri Lanka 4 days earlier. So they only seen each other for 4 days in 8 months. Mom was back home 8 months in the new house that they built. So my dad planted all the coconut trees, banana trees, and mom was just there watering everything and letting everything grow and taking care of it. So we get a call, and then my mom's like, okay, son, me and you will go back home and stay with him for the treatment and come back. We thought it was just a normal high pressure. He faints and whatever. So while we're getting flight tickets ready and everything, we get a call Sunday morning. Saturday morning, we get the call. He's serious. Sunday morning, we get a call. We video called him a few hours earlier. He's sleeping. They're like, he can't talk. He's sleeping. We get a call an hour later saying Appa passed. So my mom, me, my brother, my sister, we booked the flight tickets. So I live in Brampton. My mom lives in Scarborough. My brother's in Oshawa. My sister's in Vaughan. My mom is alone at the house. Everyone goes to her house. We're all crying and hugging. And then we book a flight tickets. We're at the airport at 11 o'clock. We land in Sri Lanka 6 in the morning the following day. And then my mom's like, Appa always said, if anything ever happened, do everything back home, because he doesn't have any family in Canada. All his siblings are back home. All his siblings are in the town. So they would want the funeral to be celebrated there. So we ended up doing the funeral there. I ended up staying in Sri Lanka for almost 35 days, like almost a month and a half. I was there, did the last rites and everything, and then I came back.
I cannot imagine
Yeah.
that life, but they just
just did
they
it.
sacrifice
Yeah.
themselves so that family can
Family
have
can live,
like,
family
like
can have
for
a good
them
life.
a lot of respect.
Yeah, absolutely.
I pray for
Absolutely.
his
So that's why
soul rest in
sometimes
peace.
I come home and the house is quiet. I sit on the couch and I have the TV on, and then sometimes the TV's off, and I have my dad's photo there, and then I was like, I hope I'm working as hard as my dad did, and I hope you're proud of me, because and sometimes I'm like, I can't get tired. I can't be sad about working this long, because my dad struggled a lot more than I'm doing right now, and for a quarter of what I'm earning right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when I looked at the sacrifice that my mom and dad did, I'm like, this is nothing. This is nothing, and that pushes me to work even harder.
So the last thing
Okay.
for this episode, we have a question from the last guest.
Okay.
And you get a chance to leave a question to the next guest
Oh God. Okay.
without knowing who is the next
Set it.
guest.
Okay.
So the last question from our last guest is, what's the one mindset shift that happened to you that allowed you to become who you are today?
I think in my previous roles, it was always like you work and you get paid by the hour. And I think for me, it was like not being able to spend time with my dad and not being able to, because he was always working, working, working. And when my son was born, we were in a different role. I started at the insurance role. And then when my daughter was born, it was COVID. And I got to spend a lot of time with her as a toddler. And when I went back to work, I loved spending time with my kids. And then I said, I want to do something that'll allow me to give back more time to them. So I didn't want to go into a structure where someone sets my hours and time off. I knew I wanted to be self-employed. I knew I wanted to do this so I can bring back more time to them. Yes, I work more, but I make sure that I find time to spend more time with them when needed and when accessible. So I think that's when the mind shift changed, is when my daughter was born. I got to spend that entire year, 2 years with them because of COVID. And that's when I was like, when I went back into the workforce, I'm like, what do I need to do? What do I need to do to make sure that I can cherish those memories and those times? Because I wasn't lucky, and like many of our immigrant parents who work 2-3 jobs to support us, we didn't get that luxury to spend time with them. But I hope I can give that luxury to my kids.
Lovely, lovely. Do you have any question for the next guest?
Um, I think, why did you choose this role, and what pushes you every day to do this?
Lovely question.
Yeah.
Hope you got some value from it. And if you have any, parents, or, you see people who are hustling 2 jobs, 3 jobs, refugees in this country, just show them some love, say, I love you, give a hug, just this is something that we don't show it often. Maybe, as an immigrant,
Yeah.
we were not taught to, show that gratitude.
Just say thank you, mom
Just
and
say
dad.
thank you, one hug.
Yeah.
Because I learned this in recent times. I started to thank my dad and mom
Yeah.
now, and I feel that their energy, and whoever you see, whoever around you, just thank them, and pack.
Thank you for having me on the episode, and truly, truly appreciate. And I love what you're doing, Aditya. I love your passion and the drive that you have. And I know it's beyond the sale. You love what you're doing, and I know you do it for the best interests of your clients and those clients that become your friends and families later on. And you love what you do, and I can see that. I could see that.
Thank you. More than friends, clients, I would call my family is the
Family.
immigrant family.
Yeah.
Whoever is an immigrant in this country who wants to have a better life for their family, for them, I want to play a little minor, small particle. And thank you
Yeah.
being part of it as well, because
Thank you.
this is sharing these stories like this will inspire even one person. That's enough for us. We might not be able to move the ocean. We can
Yeah.
move the small
Yep.
drop. That's
Yep.
enough. I'm leaving when I leave the world, I feel okay. This is my
This is it.
legacy I'm
Legacy.
leaving behind. Yeah.
Okay.
I hope my daughter sees this.
Yeah.
Hey, you do your part.
Yeah. No, you are
it.
doing it, and keep doing it, brother. Keep inspiring others.